Boom. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Temple Podcast. I am here with Ali Mazzola from Align Massage. It's at align.massage on Instagram, alignmassageli.com. We went to school together and very, very talented therapist. So I'm excited to talk to you today. So how's everything been? How's quarantine treating you?
So quarantine has been really interesting as far as a lot of things. I ended up leaving my corporate job. I was working at a corporate spa, and I finally decided to make the leap of opening a private practice, which has been equal parts scary and exciting.
I think this is the time for that, though. I think independent enterprise is gonna, rise again, through the ashes of whatever this situation is. It's giving people opportunities. We got very lucky that everyone's complaining that it stopped, but we were lucky to have that money for as long as we did, the $600 stipend a week. We were lucky to have that money. I made things happen with that money. And that's a lot of people I think have done that. And you're in Centerport, right?
I'm in Centerport, yeah, Centerport, Huntington area.
Yeah, so you have a really good base of clientele for your own business out there. So anybody in Centerport's not easy to get into or out of. So you're right there.
Yeah. So a lot of I was very fortunate because my position at that spot wasn't a non-compete. So they didn't make us sign any sort of these are our clients sort of thing, which
right.
I agree. I don't really subscribe to the whole, I don't believe clients are property. And so thankfully I did have a lot of really loyal regulars of mine reach out to me and say hey, I heard you left. Cause I didn't really get a chance to follow up with them. I had planned on leaving anyway, but I didn't really know what next steps were. And the more I thought about private practice, the less scary and intimidating it became. And the more exciting it was to be oh, I can be really flexible. And the whole element of as far as the chain of custody for that's a weird phrase that I've been using, but I can't think of anything else other than I have complete control over how clean I can keep my environment. So for me, I'm immunocompromised. So I actually, when people were scrambling for hand sanitizer, I'm always stocked on that stuff just because I have to be. So in my office downstairs in my spa room, I have alcohol, I wipe everything down. I have a hot towel caddy that sterilizes. I use very natural, gentle detergent, but it is very powerful. So I clean everything on the sanitized cycle. So it's extremely scalding water. I have a HEPA, I always say it wrong, HEPA air filter, which is a hospital grade nanoparticle filter. So it's just all that stuff was in my room, but I moved it down to my spa room because I was I want my clients to be able to have this nice clean air. So yeah, it's just been as far as business, I hired, for all of this, I didn't do it alone. I hired a consultant, Miranda, who I've told you about. And she's just given me a lot of really amazing resources, and she just genuinely wants to help. She's just salt of the earth kind of person.
Yeah.
And she has everyone else, she has a program that I did with her, but she continues help every week. And that was really what drew me to her, was that it's more about she genuinely just wants to help, so that was and she gave me a lot of really good ideas on, as far as private practice goes, there are a lot of us now, especially coming into this industry, because people are starting to wake up. And, there's a lot of really creative things you can do as a massage therapist. It's not just seeing clients. There's a lot you can do. And that's sort of exciting to keep it, to keep things mixed up. Not that we don't, we love our clients, but you can always be doing something different. For example, you doing this podcast.
Right. Yeah. There's lots of avenues that I want to go down, and I feel and lots of not to sound cocky, but talents that I feel I have,
Yeah.
So I want to be able to use those. I want to be able to use those. I'm a yacht get on. I'm a yacht get on. We've been friends for a long time. That means I don't shut up. So I might as well put that to good use. If I'm not going to close my mouth, I might as well put that to good use. You know what I mean? And God forbid people, you know, like I record, I don't do it here because it's like impersonal to do that. What, like the person who I'm interviewing waiting for me to be done, like plugging my whole show. So I like do a little recording for the audio version and then put a link in the YouTube. But like, I just ask for people if they want to donate. No one has yet, you know, but I ask for people if they want to donate to the show. Great.
Yeah.
You know, think about starting a Patreon, and then, you know, who knows, maybe that'll be able to like support this a little bit and then help me grow my business too. You know, I'm lucky because I just opened an office here in Comac. So I'm out of an acupuncturist office. So it's great. It's such a controlled environment being in the acupuncturist office. I know who's coming in. I know who's coming out. I know that they have a cleaning crew that comes through and takes care of everything in the room on top of me cleaning the room. You know what I mean? There's a chair in there, a massage chair, and a table, so I can utilize both tools. There's clean air there. You know what I mean? And I have my own, you know, I have my own sheets that I brought in there, and a different blanket for everybody. And it was a great sale. I was like, oh my god! But like
That
just
was
an old
the
man.
other
Like,
reason
a sale,
that like
blanket.
it was like the last straw for me. Not that like I loved the people I worked with. I love my clients. I liked working at that spa, but you know, it's corporate spa. So it's, you know, they give you, I mean, they extended the time. Yeah. So like originally I was going to go back for like 2 days just, and so they had me do the COVID swab, which was like super fun. Felt great. Very exhilarating. Now it feels like they're poking your brain. And then I found out they were going to have us do it every 2 weeks. And I was like, listen, like, I get that because it's like a corporate, you have to have like a mandated something to be. But for me personally, like I've been quarantining. So it's like if I have clients that I trust that have also been quarantining and no one's going to come in if they have a little cough or they're sick, you know, like we don't risk it anymore. I'd prefer that to like, you know, they give 50-minute massages, and like I've never given a 50-minute massage in that place. I'm always running behind with my clients because they need and deserve the full hour, you know. And so it's just been an understanding that all of my clients go over, and no one rushes me, and no one has given me an issue about it. But it's still like, you know, I don't, you know, they added 15 minutes in between clients now, so that's for cleaning. But even still, I don't want to feel even more so that I'm rushing my client in and out. I really want to be able to have their, you know, take my time with them. And so, you know, that was another thing that I was like, I don't want to be there anymore.
I feel like
I'm there for the client. So like now I get to be there for the client all the time.
I love that. And really, like that's why I couldn't stay at a corporate. You know, I was at a corporate spa as well for a while. I also, you know, I want to break the stigma of spa and spa environment being this frou thing that like only the luxury, you know, only the rich need. It's only for, you know, like frilly people. It's a massage. Treat yourself. You're just getting a rub down because it feels good. People don't understand the medical benefits. You know, we're very blessed to live in the state of New York because we're considered healthcare professionals. Like I have an NPI number. I'm working on being able to take insurance. You know what I mean? We're very lucky that we don't have issues like that in New York, because if you watch, AMTA has a free course on taking insurance if you're interested. It's totally free.
I saw you posted that the other day, and I was like,
That's why I put it up. I was like, I wonder if anybody else knows. Because think about
AMTA is full of resources.
Think about how many more people I could help. Even if I had them pay up front and then reimburse themselves, check from the insurance company, which, you know, dentists do and certain therapists do, because we as massage therapists are not, I think it's called a participating provider, like a doctor. A doctor's a participating healthcare provider. So they have to wait for the insurance company to pay. I can do a lot of good for you, but as not being a participating provider, I have to look into like the specifics of this, because I'm not sure if I'm 100% correct, but I'm pretty sure that what I can do is like have people pay up front and be reimbursed by their insurance company until the business grows to a point where I can afford to pay. And then I can just take their insurance as normal. You know what I mean? But I want to be able to do it now to reach out to more people that could potentially benefit, you know? And that's my whole vibe. That's my whole thing. And that's why, and one of the big reasons I started the show is because like people don't understand how much good it can do for you and how much the purpose of the spa environment, the reduction of stress and its effect on your immune system, the reduction of stress and its effect on your overall mood and mental function, brain function.
Yeah.
That hour equates to 8 hours of rest for your mind. You know what I mean? And all we are these weird gelatinous squid ball things supported by this bone meat bag. You know what I mean? So like, are the Jello ball that is actually who you are in your head, everything about your body is designed to feed it. Yeah. So if this isn't working properly, that's why, you know, if people think like, you know, like my brother, for instance, I love you, Blake, but like when I started getting into weightlifting and shit like that, I was like, come meet him at the gym. He does kung fu with me. He's a martial artist, you know? He's like, come meet him at the gym. He's like, no, wait for jabronis, you know? And it's like, I get where you're coming from, but like not necessarily. Like, and I start hitting him with the science. He doesn't care. It's not his thing. But the whole purpose for me is like, I want my body to be a rocket ship. I want to be a Tesla. I don't want to be a Honda Accord. You know what I mean? I don't want to be a Honda Accord. I want to be a Tesla with solar panels. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to be like super fast on demand. Exactly. And massage can do that for people. Now, you're immunocompromised. Do you want to talk about what the condition is or no? Because you don't. It's up to you. Sure. So let's talk about it. You have lupus.
I have systemic lupus erythematosus. Say that 5 times fast. Yeah,
that's an SAT word.
In like 2014, and basically it attacks. It's an autoimmune, so it attacks healthy cells. What happens with me is my immune system reacts inappropriately, is what they call it. So I have a hyperactive immune system where it'll attack my healthy cells, specifically in my joints. And for me personally, everyone, like each lupus case is a little different. For some, it affects their kidneys, which can be very severe symptoms, which luckily I don't really have any kidney involvement. Every time they do my blood work, my creatinine always comes back normal. And so for me, it affects the pleura, or we learned about this in school. It's the muscle lining surrounding the lungs. So it's not my actual lungs. It's almost like a fascia, but it's the muscular like coating around the lungs that surrounds them.
Right.
So for me, I really have to pay attention to like when I first got sick, my first big flare up, because my immune response was low. That's what they do right now. The cure is that they give you immunosuppressants. So the way that I'm immunocompromised is that my immune system is being intentionally weakened because it's like it hulks out, you know? Yeah. So for me, like my immune defense is not as strong. And so that's why like finding massage really was, I mean, I wanted to be a massage therapist since I was born. We have photos of me like at 4 rubbing my family's shoulders, just massaging at the table, you know? So I always loved massage inherently, but it's, you know, it's like not really a coincidence that now I have autoimmune, and it really is something that it improves the immune system. I mean, it really does. I know how much better I feel when I regulate these 4 things. I have my sleep levels, my stress levels. Those are like my 2 big ones. Those are my most common to trigger a flare, which I've been flare free for, I just set my dog off, sorry. I've been flare free for like at least, I want to say maybe like 3 years. So sorry, he'll stop barking.
It's okay. You never know what's going to happen here. So like, I've been very lucky so far. There's been no interruptions except for like a dog jumping on my lap. But like, you never know.
Fireworks
you know what
going
I mean?
off? No fireworks?
Jen's dad could walk out the back and start smoking cigarettes and talking to me in the middle of this episode. It doesn't matter. It's a long form conversation podcast. Anything can happen. It's not like we're on CNN and then like somebody walks out in their underwear and is like, "What's going on, Jimmy?" You know what I mean? Like that's not the case. But yeah, no, you were nap queen in school. You had no shame. You're like, no, I need to sleep. See ya.
Yeah.
And like, but like that's all. Yeah, see what I mean?
Hi. Oh,
Marty
hello.
joined me for the episode.
Who's that?
This is Marty.
Marty.
This is my
Nice
girlfriend's
to-
brother-in-law, his brother and sister-in-law's dog.
Looks like a Marty.
Yeah,
That's very
he
fitting.
kind of reminds me of Michael J. Fox. His name's Marty McFly.
A little bit. Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. He's got the Michael J. Fox like surprise look all the time. Like, oh my god, 1.21 gigawatts. But yeah, so it's funny with an autoimmune condition that you well, not funny, but like it's one of those things that you just couldn't write. You have an autoimmune condition. You're in an industry that there is no such thing as social distancing.
Yeah.
And yet you still have started your own business and found a way to safely see clients. And there's a lot of people that are afraid because it's Schrodinger's virus. You know, you both have it and don't have it at the same time. It both does and does not exist. You know, how many people are still posting on Facebook? Do you even know anybody who's died? You know, or who's had it or who's died? And it's like, I don't know anybody personally, but I know people who know people. You know what I mean? I know a guy who knows a guy, and a friend of mine had it and recovered and was in the hospital for 2 weeks. And it's like, you know, he's a smoker and he drinks and not like an alcoholic, but he drinks enough, you know, and he smoked enough, you know, and a lot of people I know that are getting sick are doing those things. So the importance of self-care is being brought to light now more than ever, you know. And I even for a spell like considered not even calling it massage therapy, but I have to. That's the legal name for what my profession is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But body work is a much more professional and clinical, a little bit clinical sounding.
Yeah, it gives a clinical, yeah.
But body work is really what we're doing. I'm working on your body. You know, I was a diesel mechanic. Now I tell people I'm a people mechanic because it's like I'm doing your oil change, I'm doing all your maintenance work, I'm doing all your preventative maintenance. And not even preventative maintenance, but corrective work as well. You know, let's say we're doing neuromuscular re-education.
Yeah.
Let's say we're doing contract relax stretching. We're trying to affect the length of you know, chronically shortened tissues that are causing, you know, misalignment of the pelvis, which is causing lower back issues, which is causing life problems. You know what I mean? Like people, like when you feel better, your life is better. Yeah. No, but it's true. Your neck bone's connected to your butt bone, you know, and like that one line, everything that connects to your spine is, you know,
that's
crazy.
The other day, I went and I did see a couple of my private clients the other day. I went to them, and they actually have their own table, which is nice. So I didn't even bring my travel table.
Oh, I love that. That's great.
And so I worked on the wife who I did a spa party for, like right before the start of this. I went to her house and she had like a little spa party with like an esthetician and then me. And I saw like 6 of her friends and her, and she actually had me work on her son at the end who was having low back issues. He plays sports. And so, so I'd worked on her before, and then I guess her husband had tweaked his back at some point during the quarantine, and he was still he was working from home, but he was still working. So, you know, like he was trying to figure out, because like he couldn't sit in the chair. He was in so much pain. And so I worked on her first. I did her massage first. And then afterwards, he came in, and I didn't realize that he had never had a massage before, like professional massage. He had never had one. And so, you know, we're doing the intake, and I'm asking him some questions. Oh, you tweaked your back. Like, you know, how does it feel? Where is it pulling? Where do you feel, you know? And he was more concerned with like pressure. So he was like, listen, like I better feel, you know, some good pressure. Otherwise I'm going to be upset. And I actually was explaining to him, you know, the no pain, no gain. Like it may actually be that just because you're in pain doesn't mean we have to go at it like full force. So I actually brought my cups, and I did some contract, relax, contract, like we did some stretching, and I was a little bit nervous, to be honest, because I was like, you know, here's this guy, he's never had a massage. And
I've had that, and I've done what people ask, and I've had them not come back because they weren't happy with the results.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I'm nervous to tell them, but I'm like a parent. I'll be like, okay, here's your juice box. And I fill it with water. You know what I mean? Like I do what I know I need to do anyway. I'm just not very confrontational about it, like initially. But I did explain
what I end up doing in a lot of those instances is like some kind of myofascial release where I can just hold and talk to them and explain to them what I'm doing while I have my hands on them.
And then as you do.
Like let's take the thoracolumbar fascia, for example, right? A lot of times I find a lot of times when people are having issues with their mid back, low back, or like into their like glute medius, like in the sides of the hips, having lots of those issues, it'll pull into there, and there'll be trigger points in the QL under the fascia. A lot of times the fascia tightens up, and you can't get to the trigger points. So I'll explain to them like, less is more, and I'll explain to them what a trigger point is and how it's supposed to feel. And two things happen. One, I hit the trigger point, and people initially are like, "Oh my god, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
And then people who like, then you explain to them, and then it's like, "Oh, okay." So because they're having an intense sensation, that feeling, that need of like, I want you to drive your knees into my back with all 200 pounds of you, kind of goes away because I've got like a finger on them, and they're like, "Yowza," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I tell them like, this is the weight of my thumb. You have a muscle wrapped around a nerve, and this is what's causing your cascading system failure. You know what I mean?
When it comes to trigger points, I agree. I think it's definitely a weird way to say it, but like quality over quantity as far as like pressure and intention and location, like it all.
Yeah.
We can map out the trigger points, but every body is different. So
no, and you got to follow the meridians. Like forget the the trigger point referral pattern sheets are like they're nice, but like you know what I mean? I can't pay attention to it because I know that
the rule. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that like if I'm holding, let's say a very common one, right? Trigger point at the back shoe for the liver, which is that mid back area, right at T12. Right. So for people who are listening, because we're kind of like on massage therapist Jeopardy right now. I'll take channels and points for 400, Alex. So why not? So but
had to do it.
So on your back, there are points in the bladder channel that correlate to each one of your organs. Chinese medicine works a little bit differently. When I tell people that they have issues in their liver channel, people are like, "Oh God, I got to go to my hematologist."
Yeah, immediately your liver, and they're like, "What's wrong with my liver?"
I'm like, no, nothing.
Am I dying? Let me go on WebMD.
I'm like, no. WebMD always says you're dying. Never say that. Never go to WebMD. It always says you're dying. Where was I? Right. Yes. So it doesn't mean there's an issue with your liver per se, but it means that you have something going on with your liver chi. People are like, "Oh, well, chi's made up," and it's like,
yeah, you gotta show that line of the woo-woo for some people. This guy the other day was definitely not woo-woo. And so I wasn't saying energy. I wasn't saying balance. Like certain words I don't say.
So let's say that
it.
It works on that concept. But let's say even that it's not, and go with the state's definition for acupuncture, that it's affecting your nerves, and your nerve is such an intricate web that if this connects to here and we don't understand why, but we know it connects to here, then we can do work with that. You know what I mean? It's not my job to be a neurosurgeon, but it's my job to understand patterns and know how to help people.
Right.
I know that if there's a trigger point at that back shoe point for the liver, that there's probably also a trigger point at gallbladder 34 in the peroneal muscles.
Yeah.
And that that you'll be having this issue in your, in the liver and the gallbladder are paired in Chinese medicine. So you'll be having your issue with this. Remember when we were studying, I'm like, it makes a loop. You know what I mean? I still think about that all the time. We're having an issue with that loop between the liver and the gallbladder, which is affecting everything else that it connects to. Right. But if you're talking about, as far as kinesiology, as far as like the mechanics of your body, then you're probably also having an issue with your gait related to that in the musculature that's related to those channels. So if your peroneal muscles are affecting the gait of your ankle, it's going to affect the way that your knees and hips interact with the lower back and cause that mid-back pain as your erectors and psoas overcompensate and pull on L1, T12. You know? So people are like, you're a massage therapist. How do you know that? It's like, because I paid attention in school.
Yeah, because
you know
I
what
learned
I mean?
it.
Like, it's like, that's what we're educated on. And this is why I started this show and want to talk to people who, like other therapists that are like us, who know this stuff and work this stuff and have results with our clients. It's not about finding new clients and people going to our websites and making us money. It's about people understanding that they could be investing their money. Like, go ahead, great, buy a tin can. But if you don't know what you're doing with it, then you're just shaking your chest with a massage ball. You know what I mean? If you don't know how to use it or where to use it or the most effective ways, and you're just rubbing it, which is great, and you might feel better, but you could be investing your funds and investing your time into something that's going to improve your life for a long period. And tell me if you agree, but I feel like a 6-week plan for your clients and committing clients with an issue, like, hey, like even if, like you say, you sold it as a block, like, hey, buy the block, I'll give you a discount, book 6 weeks in a row. You know what I mean? Like, because 6 weeks gives you an honest bit of time to then put somebody into like a maintenance mode. Like, I have a regular client right now who's 320 pounds when I started working with him. He's taken my exercise advice. He's taking, his general, I'm not a nutritionist. I don't tell him what to eat. General nutrition advice. Avoid added sugars. Eat your veggies. Eat clean meat. That's all I'm going to tell you. Calories in, calories out. He's down to almost, he's under 290. Wow. Working out all the time. Feels great. And we're on a maintenance mode now. You know what I mean? He had a knee that was tracking incorrectly. Yeah. Oh, I got to go to my orthopedist. I need surgery. You don't. Not necessarily. You know what I mean? What happened?
That's become like a swear word to me.
Surgery?
Yeah, because it's scary when you get out into the world. I mean, you and I know, like, we go to massage school and we have all the alternative holistic people, right? There's no shortage of us there. But you go out into the world. I mean, my mom's a nurse. My sister's a physician assistant.
Everybody here is a
I'm
nurse.
Not a stranger to the world of Western medicine. Yeah. But, like, it's crazy how quickly people just throw around the S word as if you're not, like, cutting into your body, causing all sorts of secondary trauma. Like, once, like, I'm not spitting on surgery. Like, surgery is important.
You need it
when you need it. Yeah, but it's not like
they don't make money if they're not cutting
it shouldn't be like oh yeah, this hurts, I'm gonna have to get surgery. Like, that shouldn't be there are so many other turns on that that path. Like,
it's different if you need like reconstructive surgery. Like when I tore my ACL, there was nothing I could do about that. I needed a new one. You know what I mean? When I broke my hand, I needed pins in my hand. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, I use this every day. You can even, I don't think you can see on the camera, but you can see the difference in the muscles that are dead in this hand from being cut into. My adductor pollicis doesn't work right in this hand, and they never. You know what I mean? It doesn't. This hand does not. I'm right-handed. I play guitar, and I'm a massage therapist, and I do martial arts. I need my hands for everything I do. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm lucky that I had a very good surgeon, and that this is all that happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you can barely tell from here, at least. I know you can't see but I'm just saying.
It's like you can.
I'm sure you can feel the difference.
See where there's there's that divot in there. That's where there's no. Oh. You know what I mean? That's where it doesn't exist on this hand. That's because the rest of the muscle is there. Yeah, I had a good surgeon, but at the same time, like, there's no muscle fiber there. It's dead. It's just skin and fat. You know what I mean? That tore, or he had to cut it to get to whatever he was doing. And like, you have to understand that the same way that I'm going to talk to a person, I want to want them in, and a bit of that is going to be salesmanship because, I like to eat and pay my car payment. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, at the same time,
that's not why you do it.
Surgeons are doing the same thing to a certain extent. And I don't want to speak for anybody, but I'm just talking about the industry as a whole. There is an industry and a commercialism to certain things, and obviously a good surgeon is going to be so confident in their skills that some people may offer surgery because they're like, oh, I love fun, you know? And it's also the social norm where we were taught as kids, think about it. Think about how history was altered to make us comfortable with shit. You know what I mean? Like, just even with American history when we were in high school 15 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they alter stuff to make you comfortable with things. So they alter your perception on what your body is to this, like, meat bag machine thing that has parts that need replacing, and it wears out on you, you know? Like, I thought 30 was death age growing up, seeing how my parents talked about it. You know what I mean? Like my mother had me very young. I remember when she turned 30, I was 9, you know? I remember when she turned 30. And I was like, oh my God, 30 is so old. And now I'm 31 and I'm like, should I wear my Dragon Ball Z shirt out today? Because I don't know. I think that might be slightly immature, but like, Goku's awesome. So, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like, I'm still the same person that I was when I was 20. I'm just more educated and more mature now. But like, I'm not old. I'm in the shape of my life, you know?
Yeah.
And my teacher's 50 and he got in a major car accident, or 49, I'm sorry, you know, in a major car accident, has brain damage, you know, and had to recover from that for the past 4 years. And now he's at a point where he looks better than me. He can still, you know, whoop my butt. And like, and he's got amazing skill and, you know, physical ability. Like, he can do shit that I still can't do. Like, he can do a planche at 49 years old. He can hold his whole body off the floor on his hands. Like, what? I can't do that still. I work out all the time, you know? And plank 5 minutes, like a warm up, you know? I wish I could see that. So if he's 49 and he's kept his body at a certain point, like when I joined the Kung Fu school, that woke me up a little, because I was this diesel mechanic surrounded by broken people, you know? I'm sitting here on like a vegetarian macrobiotic diet, trying to heal my gut and cure my psoriasis. And I've told my story 1,000 times. Nobody needs to hear that shit again. But like, you know, doing all this stuff, and then here's this person in front of me in the shop smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day, being like, just give up. This is what happens. This is what age looks like. You just get broken. You just get old. You just this. You just that. I'm like, I can't be around this energy. I gotta get out of it. I found myself in massage school, and it's like there's a whole world out there that people aren't privy to that can help them and help their lives improve. And it's about getting up. Like, there's this beauty in showing up. Like, I haven't done a standalone episode in a while because I don't have a computer. I don't like how it sounds with this. You know what I mean?
Episode?
A standalone episode. Like, I had the episode I had the episode on gratitude. I had the episode on independence and stuff like that. I want to do I want to do more, but I'm waiting for my computer to be repaired so I can release the high quality versions. Instead of like take good ideas and like burn them on low quality audio, you know. But I wanted to do an episode on the beauty of showing up. You know what I mean? Because just showing up, you know. Like, it's not hard to say.
I mean, time is a non-renewable resource, right?
Yeah.
And to invest time in yourself and your body and its well-being is, and you know, well-being is such a like umbrella term, but like it goes, it's complicated and it's not, you know, it's really simple. Like you were saying, like, even like we're not nutritionists, but you know, the basics. Don't eat garbage, eat food.
Like, don't be dumb.
If you eat it and you feel better, that's your food. Like, eat that.
Some people,
pretty simple.
Like, I tell people, I'm like, look into blood type diets. See if it's right for you. And if you're uncomfortable, ask your doctor. If you have any dietary issues, ask your doctor. You know how many people, that's the other thing. People take your massage therapist seriously. Because you know how many people I've told to go to doctors and then don't until it's too late? You know what I mean? Had problems for months that could have been dealt with because they just didn't go to the doctor. You know what I mean?
And, you know, I mean, there's the whole thing. There's a lot of people, they either don't believe in doctors, they're afraid of doctors, and that's all education.
Yeah,
you know?
It's and finding the right doctor, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Finding the right doctor. Like I'm not anti-doctor. I'm anti-wasting your time. I'm anti-doing things not doing things that could prevent you from having to see the doctor. But what I am saying is that recognize your massage therapist, a health professional, and if one of us is telling you to go to the doctor, do it. Go.
Maybe
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe go. Maybe
People
go.
are
Or if
shocked when like, so you took all kinds of anatomy, huh? It's like,
yeah,
we
I
took
know.
anatomy. Like,
Yeah, I get that.
pathology, yes, we have to learn. Like,
I had somebody message me the other day and was like, do you have any female therapists? Because, I market it as like a business. I want it to look larger than life. And like, and I'm like, it's just me.
I mean, it is a
like,
business.
Yeah.
Even
But
your
what I
language.
mean.
Sometimes we slip out and we like forget how important we are in those little ways.
True,
Like,
yeah.
it's a business. Just
Oh,
because it's
well,
you doesn't mean anything. That's a business.
because there's always a part of me in the back of my head that remembers like being 14 and like lighting a dumpster on fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
You know yourself.
yeah, like I'm kind of an idiot sometimes,
You
like
can be both.
I
You
forget,
could be
yeah,
kind
but
of
like,
an idiot and really smart about anatomy in the body.
yeah,
And
no,
pathology.
but not even that. Like I forget that like I have this potential to be like a business, like a successful business person, And that's the other thing. Like I lived in the struggle for so long, I find myself having issues pulling myself out of the struggle.
Yeah.
I forget that I need to change my mental state about that and stop viewing it as struggle and view it as past. And now I'm moving into the future, and let go of those let go of those feelings about my past, about who
Those
I
hang-ups.
am, and about
Yeah,
those
you get a little
struggling.
bit of
Yeah,
a tip from yourself.
absolutely.
I totally agree. I completely agree with that. And I know we're talking a lot about massage, but to go back to this whole like quarantine is like,
I'm gonna talk about whatever you want.
Quarantine was scary for a lot of people, myself included, because it's like having a mirror here. It's like having to really like spend a lot of time with yourself, right? Alone, or like trapped with your family or whoever you're trapped with, like
I took a month off from doing the show because I was
sometimes
having
it's
an
fun,
existential crisis.
Yeah, you're like, and so like to look at yourself that closely is scary for a lot of people. I personally live with people that are unable to do it. They cannot look. They'll shut their eyes. You know what I mean? I can't deal with this right now. They'll put it off. And maybe they deal with it. Maybe they don't. Me, me. I got to stare at it until I fix something. Like,
yeah.
So
you're like, I'll see you in a week. And then you go and take care of your thing, you take care of it.
And so like a good part of this quarantine was me being a piece of shit. Like I was sleeping in reverse. I mean, and then I think I rationalized that because I was talking to a lot of my friends and they were like, oh yeah, I sleep all day. And then at night I'm wired and I can't get back to, and it's because your whole system, like people don't realize like every little thing matters in your environment, in your psyche, it all connects. And so the same thing to go back to, like you get a client and they're like, so weird. I got this pain in my shoulder, but also my low back on this side. And it's like, well, yeah, your body's all attached,
Yeah.
and it's that simple, but we are so detached from our bodies. And so like, that's one of the main things that I really find important. Like now that I'm solo practitioner, I'm not attached to a spa. One of my major philosophies is bringing not just education, but simple enough body awareness back to my clients and just people that I meet. I mean, you don't have to book with me for me to see you, run into you at the grocery store. Maybe I know you, maybe I don't. We strike up a conversation and, maybe I mention I'm a massage therapist, but, oh yeah, like I got this shoulder or maybe someone's limping and it's as simple as, oh, have you ever tried just like maybe a little bit of like a pectoral stretch, just like, just to bring that back. Oh yeah, and even just noticing, like with my regular clients, I used to hear from them and, some of them I'd see once a month, some of them I'd see every other week, every 2 weeks, whatever. But the same thing was they would come back to me and be, oh, I noticed that, because we would talk at the end of every session. I had this one woman, she had extremely like stone upper traps. Like you just grab and it's just like, and that's where like we would start with myofascial. We would get into a little bit of structural, like moving around the spindle. So things like that, I began to think very three-dimensionally. And so just little things, she would come back to me every week and you know, I notice now when I'm in the car. And that's like my favorite word is like, oh, I'm noticing, because it's like people are paying attention to themselves. Like they're listening to their body's whispers, right? You know that thing, if you listen to the whispers, you don't have to hear it scream. And like, that's a beautiful thing to me. Like, that's one of the reasons I do what I do, is like that to me is showing like growth and change in my clients. So it's like, I'm helping them beyond the table there. If you're in the car and you're, oh, my shoulders are in my ears, let me breathe, stretch, and bring them back and down. Like that, it's so small, but it's so powerful to have that body awareness. So like,
what I'm going to be doing is, I'm going to be doing I just need to figure out a time to have somebody film it for me. That's the problem. I can't film it. I need somebody with the gimbal moving around filming it for me. But I'm going to be doing a foam roller course that I'm going to sell. So I'll do teasers on Instagram, but I'm going to teach people how they can maintain themselves at home with a foam roller in between their sessions, or for people who it's not a financial option. You know what I mean? So it's going to be cheap. It's going to be like $10. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like a $10
want them
video.
To do it though. That's the thing, is like, when you do the homework, it makes our job so much, not easier, but it's like, you know, if they're on this endless loop, like, yeah, we want clients, we want you to come back to us for maintenance. We don't want you to come back every day, every time you see us with like a new, you know, something. I mean, obviously people get hurt, things happen, but I'm saying like, as far as like self-maintenance, foam rolling, exercising, stretching, hydrating, you know, hydrotherapy as needed, anything they can be doing for themselves, that's really what's important.
Those are my favorite kinds of clients. And they're more likely to become clients than if they are already on a self-care regimen. Because they're going to start, like, I would have never, ever done this had I not hurt myself.
Yeah.
If I didn't get hurt, I wouldn't be a massage therapist. I went, when I tore my ACL, Ryan Metz, if you're listening, dude, I love you to death. Massage therapist, acupuncturist, double threat. So he would work on me and give me a half hour or an hour massage, and then needle me, or vice versa. You know what I mean? And like, that's what I want to become. I want to be able to do that, because he did so. I mean, don't get me wrong. Of course, I have screws in my leg, and I feel them all the time.
Yeah.
So like, that's something I have to accept. That there's going to be certain actions that my knee is just, I have to compensate. You know what I mean? There's fucking metal in my leg. Like, you have to just accept it at a certain point and say, like, this has happened to me. But I would not be at the point that I'm at now had I not had him for my surgery recovery. He was working on the scar tissue, my pellet. So there's different versions of ACL reconstructive surgery. They can take your patella tendon, which is your kneecap tendon. For people who don't know, it's the section from the kneecap to your shin, your tibia. They take a third of it out of the center and leave two bands. And the middle of that is supposed to fill up with scar tissue, so kind of reform your tendon. But we all know that scar tissue and ligament are very different, because scar tissue is keratinous, made of keratin, doesn't move. And
keratinosis?
Like of keratin, like made of keratin. It doesn't move. So, but with work, it's more pliable, and he worked into it. He needled me. The knees are associated with the kidneys in Chinese medicine and in the spirit body and stuff like that. And, you know, he understands, like, if I can pull off this verbal Venn diagram, I'll be very proud of myself. But you have, like, you know, your physical body, your emotional body, and your spiritual body. And then you can relate that to, like, your obviously still physical body, your emotional state, you know, your chemical emotional state, and then your psychological self-identification, your identity of who you are and who you are inside this meat bag that we live in. You know what I mean? And whether you're approaching it from the Eastern or the Western ideas of what that is, they really do meet in the middle, because, you know, who cares if it's a hormone and that's why you feel certain things? You're feeling, it's real, it's there. The feeling is real. So it affects your, you know, if I have him to know what he's doing, do the work, and help me feel better about what was happening body, I might have quit comfortably. It might have got too hard, you know?
Yeah.
Because the next 3 years of building my leg back up was torture.
Yeah.
But I had to go through it. And with proper help and proper therapy, I was able to do that. And I was only able to do that because of health insurance. You know what I mean? I was only able to do that because of health insurance. So it's like, I didn't understand at the time, the, first of all, financial responsibility. So I didn't understand, like, put $20 away a week, and then at the end of the month, I can go to a treatment, help myself. You know what I mean? I didn't understand that concept. And secondly, you know, I didn't understand how good it was for me.
Yeah.
You know, and how much it was helping until after, when I had stopped, and I was like, oh, I need to go back.
Yeah, you feel the void.
Yeah.
You're like,
I
wait.
need to go back. This doesn't work. This isn't helping, you know? And the next thing you know, I'm in the massage school, I'm getting work on everything, you know, which was also great. So, have you been now back to the whole Corona and massage thing? Back to the whole Corona and massage thing. So now, are you having your clients, they're masked on the table?
So face down, I don't require a mask because face
I say
up.
the same thing. Like, you can pull it down. I'm going to change everything and clean everything. I do paper and a pillowcase over the headrest.
Sanitized. Yeah, everything gets changed over, wiped down. The thing with me is, like, I'm always trying to, like, find that middle ground of things where it's like, I love to use as natural of cleaners as I can. You know, I tea tree oil a lot. Like for my hot stones, like I'll tea tree oil, but like I still am washing them, like, you know, sanitizing hot water. So, and I do have a lot of medical grade supplies just like in my house, just because my mom's a nurse and my sister, like, I just have medical grade cleaning supplies anyway. And then there's like sometimes where I use like the natural ones, but like I just don't feel that they clean enough to where, so it's like I end up just using the hospital grade anyway, and alcohol. Yeah. So, you know, that's something that I've just sort of come to terms with, where it's like, all right, we just got to go full hospital style on this.
It depends. You know what I mean? It depends on what you're doing. Like, I have the KN95 on, but like I still have a beard. So like, you know what I mean? Like, does it help? Yeah, it's helping. But like at the same time, like, those universal precautions are those universal precautions. I don't want people to live in fear. You know what I mean? Like it's scary because it's Schrodinger's virus. And like, I've had people that are like, let me see your test record and let me know that you're antibody free. And it's like, first of all, that's my personal medical information, so you don't have to do that. Second of all, like, if you're that afraid, I don't need to go in my office.
Yeah, you're probably not
going to
be able to
spread
relax
that
on the table anyway. So
you're going to spread that fear.
It's hard, but it's like there can't really be any gray areas. So it's like I have a face shield as well. It looks awesome. I feel like an astronaut. And you know, it's if you're not comfortable, you're not comfortable. And I respect and I understand that.
I get it. But like, it's not my job to convince you to not be afraid.
Yeah, it's the same way that, like, I'm not going to force someone, you know, they used to say in school, I think they used to tell us about, like, you know, some people are weird about, like, what do I leave on? What do I take off? And so it's kind of like that. It's like, I'm not going to talk you into something you're not comfortable with. And if you're not comfortable, don't force it. Like, I love massage. Massage is important, but overall health, which is why you're here in the first place, we do have to look back at that and say, like, how are you in your emotional and your spiritual body? Like, if you don't feel great, like, maybe don't get on the table. You're not going to be able to relax. You're not going to be able to release those muscles, and we're not going to be able to do what we need to do for you here. So, you know,
we weren't supposed to work.
There's no such thing as an emergency when it comes to massage. And I think that's kind of the whole point, right? Is that the whole point of getting the massage right now in quarantine, in addition to what we've discussed, which is like, when you get down to it, like, what are we doing? We are fixing the body. We're fixing the muscles. we're fixing something. But on the superficial level, it is relaxing, and people got to relax right now. Like, we are so wound up from all of this. And, you know, we keep saying, oh, we're all in this together. We're all in this together. We are, but everyone reacts differently. Some people are internalizing all of this. And so maybe those are those people that are like, let me see your, you know, like, when was your last swab test? And it's
we're all in this together, but like at the same time, not really. Because like we had said before we were recording, like, you know, there's people, you know, the anti-maskers and all this stuff. And like, listen, I'm not going to sit here and deny like all the stuff that I was putting online during like my break from the show, and like me questioning the numbers and all that stuff. I still 100% think that not everything was done the right way. I'll just say that.
Completely.
I don't think that the numbers are accurate, and they change all the time. Like, you look at the death numbers dropped by 200, as if those people like got CPR and came back to life. You know, so like, what's really happening? You don't know. There was people, and like, of course, because it make national news, there was hospitals in the Midwest that were caught faking the death certificates because, and people are like, you know, why the hell would they do that? It's very simple. Coronavirus stopped commerce, and hospitals, especially private hospitals, survive and operate, pay their people off of commerce. If you want your nose done, you're going to the hospital for the surgery, and they're getting paid because they have the ORs. If you know, so any elective surgery that they're making all this revenue on has now been canceled. So you only have mandatory life-threatening surgeries happening, which, you know, thank God those are going on. But unfortunately, just having those doesn't pay the bills. That's why the hospital is structured the way that it is.
Yeah.
Federal government's now offering a lot of money to help you deal with your coronavirus cases. So if your hospital is at risk of going under or going bankrupt or having to, you know, like, I don't know how, whatever. But if the hospital's suffering and they see an opportunity, it's not even necessarily evil. It's survival. It's wrong. It's not right. But you can say the same thing to the person who robs the gas station because they don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're trying to get their family or whatever. Yeah.
Right. They're at wit's end and they don't know what else to do.
Driven in this society and in this country. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like,
personally, I took a very minimalist approach to this from the very beginning, because stress is one of my triggers. And from the beginning, it wasn't that I wasn't taking it seriously. It was that I wasn't going out of my way to, you know, it was hard to avoid for a lot of us, but I did it. Like, I wasn't watching, I would keep up to date, but I wasn't watching, you know, the toll numbers every day. For me, I learn visually, and I absorb information, you know, visually. So numbers on a screen to me are just, my brain goes, like, shuts off. I just don't, it doesn't register for me. So, you know, I have an older father who, you know, he was nervous. So like, he would be watching the news every day, and I would hear the death toll. Like, oh, did you hear that? And it was very like polar opposite, where like he would be kind of in this like swirl of like the mass hysteria, which from the very beginning, I didn't think that it was a fake virus, but I think that the hysteria that exploded and the monster that this became, which it's hard to avoid. You know, I mean, we've seen it happen with like the SARS, you know, like we've seen this in similar ways in the past. I know this is different than ever before, but that's kind of how like we move forward.
You have lots of split decisions as well. You have in the professional medical community, you will find doctors that are like, if you're healthy, you're good. And you'll find doctors that are like, if you say that, you're spreading serious misinformation and you need to be, you know, taken off the board, have your license revoked. You know what I mean? So like, it's
two very extreme polar opposite schools of thought that are like just
happening
And
at the same
for,
time.
for most things, for anything. I mean, even in school, like East West, they teach us middle of the road. I observe from the middle of the road. And so death toll numbers don't mean anything to me. And like, there was the whole, I actually take hydroxychloroquine. So there was that whole like, oh, hydroxychloroquine cures it.
Oh yeah, I got into a mini argument with somebody. They're like, it causes problems. And I'm thinking, I'm like, well, people with lupus take it, and I know you, and I'm like, she's
I
great.
take it every day.
Yeah.
And so, and everyone has an agenda, whether they know it or not. And so I take everything as it comes, and I respect the virus, but at the same time, I'm not paralyzed by it.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not either of the extremes, because it's not productive. A lot of this back and forth and these disagreements and everyone trying to just be heard, but no one's listening. And it's just like, and that's another thing to go back. I know we keep like COVID massage, but that's another strong principle of mine, is listening to my clients, because sometimes people just want to be heard. And if it's productive and they can engage in productive conversation, that's where change happens. And, that's really important to me. Not just as a massage therapist, as a person. And that's another reason this podcast is so cool, because I feel like a lot of, my coach Miranda had me journaling, and a few times I told her, I need an audience. Like, I need to be able to process my thoughts, like verbally, you know what I mean? Like, I need to be able to like bounce ideas off of someone and be able to.
I mean, how many times have we been in the car until like 4 o'clock in the morning, just bullshitting in your driveway?
Yeah,
just
like on
because
a tangent, how did we get here?
What are we
talking about?
But like, I've been doing that my whole life, and that's why I started this show. It's like, how how many revelations I've made about myself? Everything is a selfish endeavor. Everything is a selfish endeavor. And it's like, even me helping people, it's completely selfish, because I feel great when I help people. I feel great when I help people feel great. And I'm chasing that high. I'm chasing that feeling. I'm addicted to that. That's what I want. So I took all my addictive personality traits and I put it into something else. I took all my neurotic tendencies and my anxiety problems, and I turned it into always being busy. Did I lose a lot of friends because I'm always busy? Absolutely. But the people that have stuck around in my life are the ones, or they're really friends. Exactly. Like, you know what I mean? Like I have friends texting me being like, hey, can you not cancel this time? Because like, we have to hang out. That's a person who actually gives a shit and understands that, like, I'm not canceling because I'm at home. I'm canceling because I'm shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I woke up early and I did the thing and I did this thing. I'm trying to get on that like Jocko Willink, like Navy SEAL schedule,
Oh.
But like, he
up at 5 a.m.
He posts. Do you know who Jocko Willink is? Anybody who listens to like a Joe Rogan podcast knows exactly what I'm talking about, or his podcast.
Probably.
He's a Navy SEAL. He's super inspirational. He's like in his 50s and he's a fucking house. I should stop cursing on this podcast. Maybe not. Who cares? But he's a house.
I think swearing makes us approachable.
Yeah, right. It's realistic, But this is New York. No, but he posts a picture of his watch every morning at between like 3:45 and 4:30, whatever it is, and he's actually out of bed and ready to go hit the gym. And then like at like 6:37, he posts a sweat puddle. Like every day. Get after it. And he's not like this super angry, super militant, you know what I mean? He's got those tendencies. But like, he was a Navy SEAL that was in Iraq in the Battle of Fallujah, I think it was, or one. It was one of the major battles in Iraq. He was there, or major occupations in Iraq, I should say. I don't know his story back then, but go look him up. He's great. He's excellent source of inspiration. Very, very popular. Very, very popular dude. And he's turned that ability to motivate his troops. He's turned it into a career through his podcast, doing the same thing I'm doing now, talking to his people. He talks to military. He tells their stories, why it's important to them, what they went through. And I feel like a lot of massage therapists have this. It was like the school for the broken. You know what I mean? So many people in their late 20s, in their early 30s, in their 40s and 50s, starting over, going back to school, picking a new career, figuring out if it's going to work for them or if it's not going to work for them. And people who think that anybody can do this or they got a couple bad massages, let me tell you something. Those people aren't going to last in the industry. It's a funnel. You know what I mean? It's a funnel. There's a lot of people that go to school, and not a lot of people really stick because they're not very good. And it's not even that they're not very good. It's they aren't. It has to set you on fire. You have to be passionate about what you can do with it.
You're there,
and
you're
that's
not.
when you get good.
You're there,
right.
You're not.
The beauty of showing up, the power of showing up.
Yeah.
That's really what it's all about. If
and
you
even
just
think
get
about
there,
most people, like, I don't know. I mean, I love massage. If I broke my hand, I mean, you broke your freaking hand and then still came back. I mean, you were almost done too. But like, that's like the whole, like that would, I don't know. I mean,
and with Kung Fu too, I was training with a wrist brace
go back. But like, that's your hand. Like, you kind of need that.
God has been testing me again and again and again, and making sure that this is what I want. I feel like, you know what I mean. And then even now, like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I've got clients out the butt. You know what I mean? Like I worked for, you know, the health and wellness. I won't say that, you know, the health and wellness center that I worked at. You know, and that didn't work out. And I have all those people's phone numbers, but it's like, that's their path. And I don't want to, like you said, like possession of people, but at the same time, like, I feel uncomfortable picking from that audience. And then when I worked towards the corporate, I had to sign that thing that you didn't have to sign.
Non-compete, yeah.
Yeah, I
what
had
makes
to
you
sign one of those.
uncomfortable? Why are you uncomfortable moving those clients?
Of their family's livelihood.
Their family.
Their family's livelihood. You know what I mean? Taking a client from them or potential income from them when, you know, they're in a situation like, I'm at home, I'm living in my girlfriend's house and paying her father rent, but they've got their own place and their own business and their own child. Gonna rent a couple of cats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what do I have that I shouldn't be patient enough to have my own people find me? It's like I said to Christina.
Would you be taking all of their clients? Like, would it be that drastic of a?
No, not all of their clients. I just, I didn't want to potentially offend anybody that I care about either. You know what I mean? You know? So that could be my own personal thing. It is my own personal thing. I get it.
You know, ethics gets fuzzy with it because it's like, you look at it and it's like, yes, patients aren't property. And I think it's equal parts, like, are you putting your client or your patient first? Or are you putting the people, you know, that run the company? Like, maybe someone really, really, you know, can only go to you, and so they lose that client anyway. I'm just playing the what if game.
Yeah.
Or, you know, what if there is so much abundance that not only can you get clients from them, but they get even more clients, and, you know, maybe you, I don't know, cross collaborate or whatever. You can refer people to them. They can refer people to you, and, you know, so just something like that. And you acquire clients on your own separately, you know, like in a perfect world.
That is a really great way to look at it. You know, I do have
I just feel like
definite issues
if you
with.
think it lack, like for me, like I was thinking like, oh my gosh, like so many people go to that Hand and Stone. You know how many people, I used to work at the front desk. We had so many people come up and, wow, I never knew this was here. Spa was there 10 years. They opened in 2008. It was 10 years at that point. And so many people, oh, I didn't realize you guys were here. Because we're on the top floor. And we had so many people, oh, I have a gift card to there. You know, oh my God. It's like, it's kind of this, it's like the fast food of massage. You know, like, it's just like.
Right. It's like the McDonald's of massage.
Yeah.
Kind of. That's how I felt.
I love it. Like I love that it you know, it makes massage mainstream enough that like people that maybe can't afford to come, you know, they can go regularly and it's affordable. That's great. But it doesn't get taken seriously as a medical profession in that setting. So, you know, I would still get people,
not by any means.
You know, I just came to relax. And I'd be like, okay. And then I would, you know, it wasn't a big deal because I would find the something wrong eventually. And then, oh yeah, you know, I always walk funny on that side because I had surgery on my ankle a few years back. And so now my knee is a little, you know, so it's like.
The thing for me that like, because I know everybody has their qualms with the industry and like with their experience with it. The things that upset me the most is the homophobia and the you're a big dude. You look like you lift weights. The or people that want me to like literally drop people's elbow on them because I work out. You know what I mean? Like they see a little tricep line and they're like, "Oh, this guy can kill me." That's what I want. And it's like, that's not necessarily what I need to do.
I get underestimated.
And you get underestimated because you're a female, and that's the other thing. It's like, oh, I don't know if I want to work with this person. Like I don't know if I finished the statement earlier, but I had somebody message me and being like, oh, you know, I'm looking for a massage therapist as an at-home gift for my boyfriend, and I'm like, okay, great, here's my rate, you know. And she's like, oh, well, do you have a female therapist? And I'm like,
okay, yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's just me. She's like, well, I have to move on to the next person then. My boyfriend's very picky. And it's like, your boyfriend's stuck in 1970. You know what I mean? Like when I and I hope nobody gets offended by me saying the word, but I want it to make an impact. I got called faggot every day when I told the people at the shop that I was leaving to go to massage. You fucking faggot, you this, you that, you Hillary voting piece of shit, you wanted Bernie. Oh, dude, they had a picture of a chimpanzee in a suit with a banana for a phone and it said Obama on it. Hung up in the shop. I needed, not in the shop, but like, there's such a thing as a tool cart. It's not a toolbox, it's a tool cart, and it has a lid that lifts up, and it was the service manager's tool cart. So whenever he would go to work on something and put the lid up, you had this unbelievably angering and racist photo on his thing, and he's Puerto Rican. I'm thinking to myself, he's like my stepdad's grandfather. He's Puerto Rican, but he's Puerto Rican, but he looks white. You know what I mean? So I think because of that, he like acts like the rest of them, and like that was where I got stuck. You know, I told you stories about
you didn't get stuck. Well, you were uncomfortable.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean like every shop I went into, I got stuck with those people.
Oh,
like every shop I went to, I got stuck with like that same kind of group of people set into old, dead, incorrect, immoral ideologies and thought processes, and I could not be part of it anymore. Especially being called something like that with the amount of gay friends that I have and people that I love and care about who are homosexual, bisexual, queer, or in between, like, you know, trans, whatever it is, the amount of people I have in my life that I hold dear that are defined, or not defined, but define themselves in those categories, and then to then have one word that offends them all, be, you know, like
thrown around so casually
to try to hurt me purposefully because I'm going into a different profession where I have to use
it's
touch
hurtful,
to heal.
But not. I don't think it's hurtful in the way that they intend. It's hurtful on a deeper level than they.
I feel bad for them. I feel bad for them. I pity them. Seriously. Yeah. How, you know, I mean, like, I'm sitting here looking up and trying to learn from this person who is hammered by 1 o'clock every day, drinking.
All I can say about those types of people is they must be scared shitless for what's coming. I can't imagine the level of fear that I don't know if a lot of them have the capacity to process, because there is a lot of transformation happening, a lot of major, undeniable, mirror to the face, like national transformation situation that is inevitable at this point. And
It's
they
like
must be scared shitless. That's all I can say.
my interview from last week. This one is going to air. Today's Wednesday for those listening. Today's Wednesday for you. This is going to air on Friday. And then if all goes well, I'll have your friend Miranda airing 2 weeks from now, because I have another interview tomorrow with an influencer who had a skin condition, and she used like Arbonne and health and wellness to help her with her skin condition. So we're going to tell her story.
Oh, cool.
So you're going to be on Friday. Alex will be on next Friday, and then 2 weeks, if I can lock Miranda in for an actual like hour or two interview. If I can lock her in for that, I'll have to speak the week after or the week after that, depending. But I'm going to try to lock that down. And then once all this happens and I start picking up traction, I'm going to finally like interview my teacher. I talk about him a lot. He knows I want to interview him, but I'm like, I want a little bit more of an audience before I interview you. You know what I mean? I don't want it to look like I used him to get a leg up. I want to get some people and get him exposed. Yeah. Anyway, so again, this is how we end up talking before it. But so, and Logic, who you know, who I'm going to tell that story right now. So last week, if for everybody listening, you can go to YouTube or you can go to my podcast, Apple, Spotify, Anchor.fm, wherever you find the podcast, wherever you're listening to it now, or watching. Go to my channels. My Instagram has my link tree. At TempleLMT has my link tree. TempleWellness.com also has a link to my link tree in the top right corner. Plugs. My interview with Logic Thompson. Logic Thompson I've known since I'm 21 years old. We met in tech school. I've known him forever. And Allie and I went and hung out with him one night, and it was hilarious. It was hilarious. It's hysterical. It's like my two favorite memories of you are this and Fudgy the Whale. But this tops it. So I think this tops Fudgy the Whale. But story for another time. But so we go. I'm like, hey, we're meeting my friend XYZ. He's doing, and this is the beauty of Logic. We didn't even get into this. We didn't even tell this story. We told a bunch of other stupid stories, but we didn't even get into, like, this is why I love talking to him. He's going to be recurring, He's just like one of those.
Oh, he's got
huevos. You know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to do stand-up. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, fuck it. It's an open mic. It's at this bar. I'm going to try it. And I'm like, hey, Allie, you want to come with me? Because we're going to go see stand-up. And you're like, yeah. I'm going to wear a cow costume. And I'm like, geez, what a funny girl this one is. She's going to wear a cow costume. And I go to pick her up. She comes out of the house, fully donned, in a cow outfit, udder and all. We drove all the way to Queens with you in the cow outfit, ordered drinks in the cow outfit, and then you decided at the second wave to get up there and do an improv stand-up routine, and you fucking killed. You killed. The room died. That was the best part about it. You told
Can I
a story about
myself?
seagulls. Yes.
I gotta explain myself because it wasn't like. Oh,
it was hilarious. It was so good. And
we were just going. We were trying to figure out something to do, and you were like, "Well, my friend." You were like, I think that was a different time because you were like, "My friend's doing this comedy show. Like, should we go?" And I was like, "Yeah, we should go." Like, and you were like, "You're like that? Okay, you're good."
Yeah.
And so when we got there, like, I was very comfortable in my cow costume anyway, just because it was like, it was equal parts like people like, I'm not afraid of people looking at me, but I think they were just like, so like, it was just so random that like no one really had anything to say because they were just
no
like,
one could react.
Yeah, like there was no precedent set. Like no one else, it wasn't Halloween. This was like, I think this was like in July or something. It was in the summer, right?
Yeah, it was maybe like this. It was a little cooler. It was like the spring. It was nowhere near Halloween.
April.
It was nowhere near
Whatever,
Halloween.
yeah. And I was pissed because, well, Logic went up with like the people that had planned, like there was like a plan to go up there.
Yeah.
And then they did an open mic afterwards to be like, well, we got some extra time. Like if anyone wants to come up, we'll give you like, I don't know, was it 60 seconds?
Yeah, it was like 3 minutes.
It felt like forever when I was up there because I was just like, oh, all right, never done this before. And then I felt kind of bad about the cow costume because I was like, did they, I don't want it to be planned. And then I think at the moment I wasn't actually second guessing myself that much. That's probably in hindsight, I was probably like, oh, they probably thought I was cheating because of the cow suit. But that's just who I am. But I was getting pissed because after Logic and all the like real comedians, like they were funny. Like Logic was funny and he got some good laughs. And then there were all these dudes going up that were just like kind of assholes. Like, yeah, they were all bombing. And there was that one guy, oh, that was like, then that's the dark side of like comedy is like, comedy's hard. And so there was that one guy, do you remember? He was up there and he was like talking about the first time he like met a lesbian couple or something. Cause I guess it was just the most exciting thing that had happened to him in his life.
It was just weird. So yeah.
He was like, I don't know, man. And there was like long pauses and you and I are just sitting there like uncomfortable. And eventually he was just like, I'm so lonely. We were just like, oh, maybe not the place for you, like up on stage in front of everyone. And then there was that one guy that went up and like, I don't know what he was joking about, but he was kind of a dick. And then he like made a joke that girls weren't funny. And like, I was one of maybe like 4 females in this bar, like including there was a man and woman both like co-hosting the event.
Yeah.
So she was up there,
her, yeah.
She did some jokes, he did some jokes. And so I was like, fuck that. Girls are hysterical. Like, I'm funny. Like,
I'm getting up there.
I think I'm hysterical. Yeah. And so when he said that, that's when I was like, because I think you wanted me to go up. You're like, you should go up. And I was like, I think you were like joking, like, oh, like, and
like if you want to,
so I was like, I can do better than these guys. Like, and
I was like, so
yeah, that pissed me off. So I was like, fuck it. I was like, this dude thinks we're not funny. Like, he's not getting any laughs. Like I could get like one joke out of these people and just be like, yeah, who's not funny? So that's why I did it. It was like I was raging.
I'm upset that I should have put my name on there and like I have a couple good stories that I could have told because now who knows if we're going to be able to do that kind of thing ever again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We will be because we say that and then a year from now nobody's going to give a rat's ass. That's how this world operates. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's especially this time. Yeah, we quickly forget.
What is it? Object impermanence? Like we're all like toddlers running around. Like, what's the next new thing? What as soon as like the next new iPhone comes out, that'll be. You know what I mean? It's like.
Oh my God! It's like yesterday.
Just need something to chase after.
So Jen is training with me, which is pretty cool, and I'm teaching her yesterday how to hit heads. And her nephew is there, like, I don't have any punchers, like these like boxing gloves, you know. I don't have any punchers, and I'm like, I got another pair. I'm like, let me, because I was legitimately teaching her, you know what I mean? I'm like, let me work with Jen, and then we'll work together. And then we hit a point where like I don't treat her any differently than anybody else, you know what I mean? I feel like that would take away from the training and like what it was for me, you know. I'm not mean to her. She'll say I'm mean to her, but I'm not mean to her, you know. Like. I said to her, I was like, she just wasn't getting something. And I explained to her exactly how it was, but sometimes you need to just work it. So like, go over there and just drill it till you throw up, and then I'll be back with you in a few minutes, you know? And then I finally go to work with Thomas. It had been like 10 minutes now. And he had no interest. He just wanted the gloves. He had no interest in hitting the pads. He had no interest in me. He just wanted to wear the gloves. Yeah. So I put the gloves on him, and then he walked the fuck away from me. And I was like...
Thanks for the gloves.
Yeah. my punchers now. And I'm like, okay, yours. Great. Okay, now you own them too. You know? And I forget that he's 4. I'm like, he's being a dick, but it's like he's 4. You know? It's like oh man. But yeah, so I find that I've learned a lot about patience through this whole quarantine as well. And there's been a lot of patience and risk taking. Patience and risk taking. I would not have had the courage to do this kind of thing like 2 years ago. You know what I mean? I mean, like when we met each other in school, like I was a mess. Like I was a real legitimate mess. No confidence, no nothing. And this is like 5-6 years into, or 4 or 5 years into come forward too. Like I didn't internalize it yet. I didn't make it part of who I am. I didn't I didn't know my own worth and my value. I was in toxic relationship after toxic relationship after toxic relationship, like, you know, double life kind of thing, like going out and being an idiot on the weekends and then trying to like clean my shit up and then like
think you should be that you're constantly reaching for, right? And you're not
yeah.
getting it, feels like shit. And then like who you know you could be if you got over your bullshit and like got out of your own way. Yeah.
Yeah. And if it wasn't for quarantine, and like I said the other day, like for the people who have gotten sick, the people who, you know, like have, or, you know, survived and have their inflammatory conditions because of COVID, or people who have unfortunately, you know, sadly passed away, like, you know, I'm very sorry for those people. But there's a dark and light to everything, and the light of the situation has been for the people who are quarantined, people who are at home. It's an opportunity for self-reflection, and it's an opportunity to eliminate those excuses. You know, so overcoming yourself is an absolute battle. And the smartest thing I found through this quarantine is to know when not to fight. You know, I remember I was so proud of myself.
It's harder.
I was up at 5
It's
a.m.
harder.
Yeah.
It's
I was up
harder
at
to
5 a.m. I was productive all day, and then I was
Right.
burnt out for a week. So it's like the effort into doing, like, you know, like this is something that I'm doing. I have shit to do, but like I'll have the laptop open and I'll kind of work while I like play No Man's Sky, because I need to, it's a game I can pause. There's no plot, you know what I mean? But if I take 20 minutes and I play that game, I'm just playing that game. And now I'm coming from a perspective of somebody with attention deficit. You know, ADHD has like defined my life, because I have what I describe to people as multiple trains of thought. Like Jen will be like, you're on your phone and you're playing with the dog and you're not listening to me. And I've been talking to you for the past 10 minutes. And then I'll look at her and I'll recite everything that she said. And I'm like, you don't understand. I focus better when I'm distracted.
Yeah.
She's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I focus better. I get better shit done when I'm distracted, because those multiple trains of thought immediately then pour themselves into depression, anxiety, and trauma. So all the stuff that I'm not over, any kind of PTSD that I have going on up here, any situations that are unresolved back here, that's where all my thoughts go when I'm trying to hunker down and focus on work. So it's difficult for me a lot of the time. Or, you know what I mean? So like quarantine has given me opportunities to self-reflect and let go of those situations and be unburdened by them. And it has also given, and it has also given me an opportunity to accept the things that I need to do. You remember in school, I have my laptop open, I have my phone going.
Yeah.
I knew everything, and people were cheating off being Asian. I was teaching the channels and points class from the back of the room because the guy in the front didn't know what he was
every
doing.
once in a while we'd all be confused, and you'd be like, "It's due 20." Like I'm just like,
it's a loop.
Paying attention.
It's like, oh, I kind of know this already. You know what I mean? I was blessed by Tai Chi to know the general areas of a lot of the channels. You know what I mean? Like generally a lot of the channels, because you know you're stimulating those meridians as you do a lot of the moves in our Tai Chi forms. I don't know how it is in other schools, but you know, in our Tai Chi forms, a lot of times there's very specific movements and areas, and then you know when you're dedicated, my teacher will be like, "That's, you know, this is the lagar, the center of the hand. This is like you're connecting your pericardium and your lung. You know, like this is you're putting your point on." This is the start of the lung channel. Like he wouldn't call it 1-1. He'd be like, this is the start of a lung channel. You know what I mean? And it runs down here. So I already knew the lung channel went down here, you know? And he would make sure that our fingers are in the right place. And that like when you're doing Qigong, people do this a lot. And he would always tell me like, you know, like if your lungs aren't relaxed, if your thumbs aren't relaxed, relax your thumbs are your lungs. You know what I mean? And then we have moves where we'll stretch out. And he'll be like, remember you stretch the pinky, because that side of the pinky is the heart, you know? So I already had that leg up, and it, you know, I was very blessed in that way to have such great instruction. But you know, like I admitted then that I needed that, and then I denied it about myself, and I had to relearn lessons. And I took that month off and had like an internal crisis while also teaching online and doing all this craziness. And you know, it's a blessing in disguise. A blessing in disguise for you as well. I mean, like, you know, now you're starting your own business. You still have to have a place in your house where where you can do it and see people, and that's amazing and awesome. You know what I mean? Like, and for me, like, I dropped a bunch of the weight that I was holding on to, and a lot of that I feel like was me attaching myself to that self-image. You know what I mean? Attaching myself to that self-image. Like, I can't go in the sun. I can't get any kind of tan because I'm pale. So it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I was told that I have to be careful because I could get skin cancer because I'm fair skin, but like, I have more of a tan now than I ever did, but maybe I never tried to spend any time in the sun because it was about not getting made fun of for being so pale instead of just like letting my body produce vitamin D. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the sun is so good for you, like for you, not for me.
Yeah.
But you should be in the sun. The vitamin D is really good for which I haven't looked, but like it looks like you don't have any anymore. You don't have any.
Yeah, I had really bad psoriasis. I'm gonna post it eventually, because it's bad. But like, yeah, you can see like my legs are a little flared up right now because I cheated last weekend. But you can see that, like, you see my leg is much better than it used to be. You know what I mean? I'm a little dry. I didn't lotion today. I made a couple discoveries. First of all, was ketogenic diet or like paleo diet is really what I need to do. I'm type A blood. So type A blood type diet requires a lot of fish. So I spent a lot of money on wild caught salmon and invest in that, or like frozen like whitefish or something like that. I try to have a lot of that. I try to
move to Alaska and pick up fishing.
Yeah, I try to avoid pork. I try to avoid non-grass fed beef. I try to save up for bison as much as I can, or like help like fresh cut grass fed meats. That's helped a lot. Avoiding grains, no gluten, no added sugar, even limiting my fruit and like no juice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and limiting that insulin response, trying to stay as ketogenic as I possibly can, while also, also listening to my body and being like, maybe a handful of blueberries is good for me right now.
Yeah.
That's helped a lot. And also, like, there's a Manuka honey eczema psoriasis cream that I found that has been really helping. CBD really helps with inflammatory, stress reduction. The more life lessons I learn and the further I get, the better my psoriasis is. The better I feel about me, the better my psoriasis gets. The less stressed I am, the less my autoimmune condition reacts.
Yeah.
And I'm high risk
like
too.
The body's a map of all the choices we make,
Yeah.
For you can see it. For me, internally, like, I know when I've eaten like a piece of garbage. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know my body calls me on it. There's no hiding anything from it. So
me either. Like, I had pasta. You saw the cooking video I put up? I had
that looks so good.
Yeah, well, I'm still paying for it. That's why my legs are flared up. You know what I mean? But oh my God, it was amazing. It was fantastic. But that's really what it is. Yeah, and the lungs rule.
It tastes good, but then you feel it. But like, you're not gonna. All right, so you have pasta every once in a while, but it's all about a balance.
The lungs rule the skin.
You don't eat the pasta every day.
No, but how long did I smoke for? You know what I mean? How much damage is still being repaired? You remember I was trying to hide that I smoked. And then I was like, I can't not. And we're on our way back from, I think, that night, and I had to pick up a pack of cigarettes. And you're like, you were clearly addicted to these. I'm like, yes, very much so. Because then I had like 10. Because I hadn't all night long. So I was trying not to stink you out. But then once I gave up, I gave up. And I'm good now. It's been a long time. Like, not even one. Nothing.
That's
nothing.
Awesome. That's no small feat.
That's, it's never too late to start over. I tell people that it's like, I don't want to regret. I don't want to look back and feel like I wasted my 20s. You know what I mean? I enjoyed my 20s. I did some stupid shit, but like, I have great stories. You know what I mean?
And you learned from it.
And I learned from it, and now I can help others. What is it? What's the most gratifying thing that you get out of being a massage therapist?
The most gratifying thing? Oh.
It's also good.
I mean, yeah, it's a lot of it. I feel like, you know, I've had the spectrum. I've had people, emotional release and just like, break down and cry. And I think, you know, that's like the ultimate level of human trust is like if you can be that vulnerable in front of a stranger. I mean, they don't know me other than I'm their massage therapist. So I think being able to reach people on that level, it is a little selfish. It is very gratifying to have someone, like you can really like see that you've made a difference in them somehow, some way, whether that be emotional release, whether that them being like, verbally, oh, I feel amazing. I can walk without pain now. I mean, that to me is like, to this day, I don't think I've come to terms with the fact that like we can fix things. like when like that guy tweaked his back and I was thinking like, oh my God, I hope he likes my pressure. Cause he was kind of, and he said actually at the end, I converted him without even trying. And he was just like, you really need this. Cause he was telling me during the massage, I don't really talk during massages, but it was his first massage. So I think he was a little nervous. So towards the end, he said, we're not very extravagant. Like this is why, like, I've never gotten a massage before. And so, and I don't remember exactly what I said to him because I was focusing, but I think I was like, I said something like, well, it is seen as a luxury for a lot of people, but I equate it to, like, people say, how often should you get a massage? I always say, like, you eat every day, you brush your teeth, right? You brush your teeth in the morning, you brush your teeth at night. You're using your muscles every single day, whether you know it or not. Like, you're using your muscles for walking, sitting, talking, like you're using muscles for all of that. So you get a massage, you give back to it somehow, right? That's your balance. So for me, it was like, I didn't think he was even going to hear me. And we got done. He went upstairs. I was talking to his wife and he went upstairs to go to sleep because this was later in the evening. And she said, how do you feel? He said, your body really needs this. And I saw like the light bulb go off and I was like, he gets it. Like, wow. Like and that's like my own, like, self-confidence. I'm a new practitioner. I've only been in practice like, like a little over like a year and a half. And so like for that to be so influential, like it's just like mind-blowing to me. So I don't know if that was one thing. I'm not picking one thing, but I think just seeing and being and talking with my clients and just people that I've worked on and like seeing that I'm actually doing something. Cause like, I know I believe in massage for me, but like, I think sharing that is the most gratifying thing, being able to share my knowledge and share, my gifts.
Yeah, absolutely. What I'm just realizing? We've never actually worked on each other.
False.
False.
I have, well, I don't think we've done full treatments. I have worked on you in like one of I think it was was it Med Massage 1? Whatever class we had with Evelyn. I think I worked on you for
Swedish
like
practice lab. Swedish
oh yeah, yeah. I think I worked on you one of those classes. Yeah.
That was the first time I ever got cups.
I know.
She put the cups on my gallbladder 21 up here in the straps.
Oh, I know.
And she was so fun. She was so funny
like,
about it too.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, now I'm sold.
And we're like, yeah.
She taught us how to do it, and I was like sold. From then on, I was like,
I know. And then everyone out and bought those cups.
I went out. Yeah, I got my own set. I gotta buy a new
Everyone's
set.
Like, I need these.
I need a home and an office set. I want to buy. Oh God, excuse me. I want to buy fire cups.
Yeah.
Those are super cool. I just really want the super big one to put over somebody's sacrum.
Yeah.
The huge one right over the sacrum. Holy God, that does so much good. That does much good.
There's a practitioner I follow. Her name is Jen. I found her on Instagram. Her name's 3 Waves Wellness on Instagram. And she is into like metacupping. She's like super into metacupping. And the first time I ever reached out to her, she had posted these glute cups that she hooks up to her machine. So they have like, it's like a tubing and it hooks up, I guess, to the machine so she can regulate the pressure. Yeah. And they're huge cups. And she had one on each glute. And I was like, that's insane. Like, think of how many people come to you and they're like, you know, everyone knows the word sciatica. It could be pseudo, but everyone's like, oh, my sciatic, I have this sciatic. Like, that's amazing. Like, to have those giant cups or on the sacrum, like, people don't realize how much gets stored, especially because
right there.
So much like we're distanced from our bodies, but then like you think about like the nerves and how everything connects, like spinal cord, but like physically the brain is so far away from like the cauda equina, you know, that the nerve plexus in the it's sorry, I don't know if it's the sacrum, but it's like, it's, you know, like it's all in, it is in the sacrum, it's all everywhere, it's all attached. And so like I think that distance alone, like people don't realize, like even if you have low back problems, like you don't realize how and where it manifests and how that's like sitting in your body. So like, yeah, cups are cool. Yeah, I'm definitely
cups are really, really cool.
I'm definitely
how I describe it to people is like I can only press and like push and separate where the cups can lift and create space.
Mm-hmm.
The cups lift and create space, and they're like, well, isn't it just broken capillaries? And it's like the broken capillaries are like, look at how dark each
signifies something.
People don't understand. It's like your veins and your capillaries are supposed to be flexible. So if I put the cup on you and it's a nice white color, there's no blood in there at all. If it turns purple, there's dead blood in there. And if it's red, then that's healthy. You're breaking some capillaries, you've got some inflammation response, that means that area is working properly. But like they talk about it in TCM as the darker the blood, the more stagnant chi you have. And people are like, again, chi's made up. Chi and blood, yin and yang. Blood is the
I think everyone has it, like, at least as far as like holistic practitioners are concerned, everyone has an understanding of chi. They just maybe don't call it that.
Yeah.
So it's like some people, you say chi and they're, oh, okay, the chi. It's like
same thing with me being uncomfortable offering Reiki because I want to be taken seriously. You know what I mean? I feel like as soon as I offer Reiki, people are like, you know.
But then you have tons of people that like, you know, they'll be on the table and they'll be like, do you do Reiki also? What is that?
Yeah.
You know, there's some people that are just genuinely curious that are not, they don't necessarily have judgments. Like I know me
have a hard time explaining.
Person, like when I found out about Reiki, I was like, oh yeah, I'll try that too. Like, what do you got for me? You know, acupuncture. Yeah. Oh, okay. Like just try everything. There are people like that too. But we get in our heads because there's a judgment that we have somewhere hidden from somewhere else, you know, like.
Yes, exactly. But in relation to the cups, I almost dropped my phone.
I know, we're like.
And I, what did I do? Oh no. Okay, we're back. So in relation to the cups, anyway, right? In relation to the cups, that stagnant chi, blood and chi is one and the same. They're just the yin and the yang. The chi is the yang, the blood is the yin. So it's, you know, you're talking about stagnant blood. You're talking about tissues that are stuck together. And like the same way that a sugar point wraps around, it's obviously wrapping around those microscopic capillaries. I mean, it's as wide as a cell. You know what I mean? It's the width of a cell. It's tiny microscopic little capillaries. And if that muscle tissue is tense and flexed and dead, the sarcomeres are stuck together, capillaries aren't moving, there's no transfer in that area, your body's smart. If the blood's not flowing, it's going to make a new pathway. It's going to reroute. It's going to do something. You're not going to die, but you're going to be like, this hurts. Why does my back hurt? It's always tight. It's always this. It's always that.
Yeah.
I'm always cracking this part of my back. I'm always stretching. My shoulder doesn't go that way anymore. I used to be able to do that when I was 20. That's really just your muscles are just too short, or things are trapped that need to be released. So the cups pull all that shit to the surface so that your immune system can deal with it and take care of it, flush it out. It's what I love is when you know you got somebody that needed their erectors released or their bladder channel. When you have the cups like a few inches apart and you see they all connect. there's a red line between the cups as the tissue is pulling apart. And like that to me is some cool stuff. And then people get up and they're like, oh, that's weird. Like I get, what I get from cups a lot, it's weird, but I like it. You know what I mean? It's weird, but I feel good.
Like, huh. Interesting.
I have a client who has rods in his back and is in a wheelchair. So he's unable to really, can't move like how you're supposed to. Yeah. So I did cups on his back, and he was like, "Huh, interesting. I feel good, but weird, but good."
Yeah.
And I think that's like the first time you get it, because you're not used to this feeling. And then you kind of wanted to go and put cups in between the other cup marks so you can get that feeling all the way down,
Yeah,
but after like after a day, they kind of calm down and just turn into the rings, So and then it's much better. But like I love it. I had Jen sitting on my butt the other day, and I'm like, no, look at the chart. I had like my acupuncture chart app on my phone out. And I'm like, that point right there, that's bladder 13. That's the lung shoe. Go, hit it now. Put the cup on. Yeah. And she's like, how many times do I pump it? I'm like, don't be afraid. Pump it 4 times. She's like, it's purple. I'm like, I know. And she's like, and then you get to a point where you're like, I can't move anymore. There's too many cups on me for me to move. So you have to go by the sound. Go by the sound of my voice. Feel for the center, the little spiny part of my spine. Go out and down a notch. Right there. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm giving those instructions. She was great. She had them all in the right spots. My kidney shoe, my bladder, kidney, liver, gallbladder, diaphragm, lung, heart. I had her do all those shoe points, and I still feel better. I never stop moving though. Like I wonder if there's if when this show gets popular, people are gonna make memes of me doing this, because I'm always like, so anyway, so how does massage affect your body? Like, how do you feel about I forget that I'm on tape. I have to constantly be moving. I can never be like an actual host of something. So I'd be like, so how's that new album, Ariana? You know what I mean? Like, I have to move. I can't just sit there and be professed. But anyway, so let's say your website again. It's
alignmassageli.com.
alignmassageli.com. I got
you can go right. Sorry. You can by booking. It's right on the first page. It says book. You just click. It'll take you to massage book. That's my schedule.
Is there anything massage book? I think I'm going to use Clinic Sense that people can book on their own. I'm just waiting for I'm waiting for the DBA to come in. Did you do one of those yet?
Yeah, I'm waiting for my DBA.
Yeah, same here. It's like
that was I think the most intimidating thing was all the procedural paperwork and official back end stuff that Miranda made it super simple. She was like, all right, we're just gonna do one thing at a time. And I was like, oh yeah, I tend to look at the big picture and get overwhelmed, and I'm just like, she's like, no, you can do this. People do this all the time.
I was the worst person for 2 weeks. I was the worst person for 2 weeks when I was getting everything set up and figuring out how to get clients, this, that, and the third. Jen's like, stop. Just stop. Chill. Because I don't like you.
Well, that was the beauty of this too, is it was why am I rushing through, because I think I was getting overwhelmed with all of it. And it's but you're not your only deadline is whatever deadline you set for yourself. As long as you're getting it done, remember, I think there was that one, I was having a funky day once, I remember in school, and I'd thrown up this quote really for me. And it was it does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. And that really was became my mantra, because it was I was getting so overwhelmed. It was for what? Just relax and get what you need to get done, and it'll get done as long as you do a little piece here and there, as you're going, and just, just patience. Just patience.
Yeah. Patience is definitely a challenge for me and a lot of people.
It's easier, I think, as healthcare providers, we are caretaker is it's easier to do for someone else than for yourself. And it's that whole,
I will break my back for someone else. You know what
I
mean?
Yeah. So.
And then for me, it's I don't want to be selfish. You know what I mean? We had that conversation yesterday
but
about
it's funny because I don't want to be selfish, but I want my clients to be selfish. So like, shouldn't I want to, you know what I mean? Like it's all
Yeah.
backwards. Like, but
Is there
that's
anything?
true. I mean,
Yeah, no, it's absolutely
it's a
true.
good
We
thing.
want them to want to take care of themselves and like
Right.
selfishness for good. And I even said before that every endeavor in some way is selfish. So it's really, is your selfishness moral or immoral? It's not so so much a matter of not being selfish, but is your selfishness moral or immoral? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Am I taking care of me so I can better take care of somebody else? And I think I've said this on every single episode of everything that I say this all the time.
We say this all the time.
You
Yeah.
can't push people up the mountain. You have to reach back and pull them up. You can't push somebody up. Imagine it. Imagine walking up a hill and you've got somebody's ass in your face and you're trying to push them up this hill. Or you've got a strong hold and you reach back and pull them up. That's where you want to be in your life. And in order to climb up, you have to climb first, which means you took care of yourself first. So if you take care of yourself first, you then have the ability to turn around and help others. You know, how can I help others if I'm in the bottom and shit? You know, I'm not going to be here forever. I love these episodes. I love that nobody's listening yet because eventually they're gonna. And I admit it because when I see a podcast with 10 episodes, I'm like, fuck this podcast. I don't even, you know what I mean? I wait for like episode 120. I'm like, oh, they have a good catalog, you know? Now maybe I'll subscribe.
You don't read the titles? I always go by the titles.
I go by the titles too. I go by the titles too.
Judge a book by its, a podcast by its episode count.
Yeah, and then, but it is what it is. The podcast is a podcast. People are going to listen to it. They're not going to listen to it. But I said to Christina when I had the interview with her, I don't know if you watched that one, but I was like, oh, my listeners don't know they're my listeners yet, but they're going to be really happy when they find out. You know what I mean? They're out there. They're just not, they're starting to figure it out now. People are starting to figure it out. The numbers are consistent. Like every time I post something, I have all the analytics stuff. I try not to worry about it too much. If you get 40 listens on one and 7 on the next.
Intention? What's your intention, right?
Right. My intention is to have a popular podcast that talks about health and wellness and makes it mainstream. It makes it relatable. It makes it not for the woo-woo and the rich and the this and the that. So that you can know that, like, hey, maybe I could achieve more if I felt better about myself. Maybe I could do more. Maybe I could, like that's why on my waiver I have a slot for parents to fill out for a minor, because like you're a 14, 15-year-old kid and you're on the lacrosse team. You know what I mean? Yeah. I had a client. Yeah. I had a client who's also a coworker at the corporate spot. And she's like one of those tall, super fit, very athletic girls. But she did so much she's like, oh, you're strong enough to do a backflip. Like, backflips are easy. I'm like, like, she's one of those, you know what I mean? And she did so much cheerleading that her lumbar was destroyed. Yeah. Now, imagine if she was getting maintained during that process. Yeah. And then what's happening to your muscles as you grow? You know what I mean? What did my mother do when I had growing pains, when I had shin splint growing pains when I was a kid? She'd come in and rub my legs. Yeah. You know what I mean? Rub my legs until it felt better and I could go to sleep. So, I mean, like, we are programmed to know that helps. So we're animals that are smart enough to know, like, maybe we could do some research on this and see how we could better do it. And then that's where we come. We're the products of that research. We're the products of that, like, hey, maybe touch does have something. And then there's that misconception, like I said before, the homophobia surrounded by massage therapy and by touch. Is this gay? Like, bro, is this gay? Can you, like, rub my ass and make feel better? You know what I mean? Like, people make those jokes all the time and they say that kind of shit. And I got stuck with that when I was going back to school for it, because my ultimate goal was to become an acupuncturist, but I dropped out of high school, so I couldn't have a GED. And I said to Terry last episode, like, I love telling people that and having part of that be my story. And I never put a lid on it. And the reason that I love telling people that is because I went from dropout to having a college degree. It might only be an associate's degree right now, but I mean, like, how many people can say that they turn themselves around like that? And I'm not special. So if I can do it, then other people can do it. You know what I mean? There's nothing special about me. I just was lucky enough to be able to allow myself to learn lessons to get to this point. Yeah. So that being said, that's the point of the show. That's my goal for the show, is to have people hear that and listen to other people and also laughed a little bit along the way. Yeah, that is possible. That is absolutely possible. This was great. I'd love to have you on again at some point. This was great, and we should set up and we should set up a barter session soon as well. That would be awesome.
Know, gotta trade.
We gotta trade. That's the beauty of being a massage therapist too. It's like hitting up your friends and being like, I don't mind getting up and working on you. I did it all through school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like whenever I go to somebody's house, I always make sure that they go after me, so that way they can be at home and I'm awake.
Yeah, that's my thing too. I do the same thing. Yeah. I was trading with one of my coworkers right up until the quarantine and everything, and I was like, oh, like we would talk all through quarantine. I'd be like, oh, dude, I need you back. Like,
yeah.
Like, no, I twisted my, like it's just like, but yeah, it's good to know people.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to absolutely. And you're the hand doctor, basically. You know what I mean? You were the hand person all the way through school, and that's
I was the person.
Yeah, you were the hand person. You know what it is? Nobody had the patience to learn how to go between the bones. It's really what it was. Everyone's like, how do I work on hands? I'm guilty. I was the same. Also because we didn't learn the anatomy. We learned the techniques for hands way before we learned the anatomy, which I think is probably a mistake on their part.
Yeah.
But if anything, I would say that you could make massage a bachelor's degree. I feel like that's where it's going to go. And I would like to change. I would like to have this show be popular enough that I could be this voice who is also like LMT. You know what I mean? Like you can and be like, oh, it's Ellen. Oh, he's a massage therapist. Like that's really. He says really good stuff. He's gives really good advice. He does X, Y, Z.
I know.
He's involved in all this other stuff, and he's a massage therapist.
With what we know,
right?
They think we just do this. Like
you and I are also the people that spent hours outside of the study. We had study groups. Our friends talked about it. We're what some people might call nerds. So like, my glasses are inside. So that being said, like we put the effort in to understand more, and I know that if really helped, if it was a bachelor's degree, you know what I mean? I mean, like I'm very blessed. Again, it was an associate's degree. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to go to school for it. But there could even be another degree. You know what I mean? Now that I have my associates in, and I can go pursue my bachelor's, and go further with the education. Like I feel like there could be more education for massage therapy. We didn't get enough on neurology. We didn't get enough on TCM. We didn't get enough on anatomy. We had to get a lot of it on our own. We had to get a lot of it on our own, and a lot of it was spent in the extra hours studying, the all-nighters, the hard work put in to learn the stuff. Dude, I mean, like getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go open a Starbucks, to work from Starbucks from 5 a.m. to 1 p.m., to get off at 1 p.m., to go then study for a few hours, or go to the gym to work out, and then go to the school, teach a class, take a class, there for 5 hours. Now it's 10 o'clock. Now I got to go work on my path paper. So now I got to be up for another at least an hour putting shit together. And that's why everything was so last minute for me, because that's what my schedule was like. Because I had to survive and I had to train, So like you learn to make it work. You learn to make it happen. Did I burn out? 100%. Yeah. But a big part of the reason that I burnt out was also, again, toxic relationship, not taking care of myself properly, and you were pushing up the mountain instead of pushing people up the mountain instead of trying to pull them up and take care of myself first. If I had been wise enough at the time to take care of myself first, I would have never gotten into the situation that I had gotten myself. But if you were wise enough, you would never be able to be here and look back and say, I know what not to do. Right. So I can teach my kids when I have them, if I have them, and be like, hey, listen, let me tell you a story. Billy Joe and Bobby Sue. Don't make my mistakes. Make your brand new own ones. Yeah. Don't learn from my mistakes and do whatever dumb shit it is you're going to do on your own, So, can't stop kids from being kids. They're going to be idiots in and of themselves. But, But at least you can say, I told you so. Right. At least you can say, at least you can have a leg up and not have to, it's not about sheltering people, but it's about letting people know that there's another way and that they can achieve and they succeed. I mean, like, look at you. You overcome, and like that's the other thing. Like I love that you mentioned hydroxychloroquine. There's so much. People are so out on the subject, you know what I mean? And people get like up in arms. No one can say that shit to you. No one can get that way with you. And even if I say, like, I don't know how many milligrams you're taking, but if you do a little bit of research into the tests that they were doing about hydroxychloroquine, it's almost like they wanted it to fail on purpose because the levels that they were giving people are so above and beyond what's considered safe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're talking
I'm on
like
a low dose. I'm on a low dose because I take it daily. The only thing for me, which they have me do, I go for an eye exam. My eye doctor tells me once a year. My rheumatologist tells me twice a year. I usually go once a year. I get an eye test done regularly because the only side effect is that they say that it can cause retinal, something with the, not degeneration, but it happens something with the retinal long term. But all my eye tests, I mean, I have 20/20 vision. All my eye tests come back fine. So that's really the only thing for me that like is like a just to pay attention to. But other than that, like I don't.
Well, I mean, with any health concern, with any medication, there's going to be drawbacks. There's going to be side effects. Like it's not a perfect system. That's why I believe in cannabis so much because, like, it kind of is. You know what I mean? There really aren't any drawbacks except for like I got too sleepy. You know what I mean? Like, even for recovery, even though like just regular marijuana for recovery. You know what I mean? I don't believe in necessarily abusing shit, but even just the use of like if you don't want to smoke anything, you're an athlete, you have an edible, you have a tincture, a 50/50 THC. You know, like you don't have to go how we did in high school and make brownies. You don't have to, you know, do that kind of shit.
We've gotten sophisticated.
We've gotten sophisticated.
Yeah.
And if it was just federally legal and regulated, we would be able to use it for the way that it is. But like anything with THC in it has been my saving grace.
This is a whole other episode.
Oh my God. But anything with THC in it has been my saving grace for recovery. It's been my saving grace for recovery. I mean, like just the ability to at night be like so tense and sore and just like have it just relax me so I can go to sleep.
Yeah.
You know? What's the difference then between that and taking Z-Quil? You know what I mean? What's the difference?
Yeah.
There really isn't any. You're taking a substance that's going to help with a situation that you have. You know, if you go to, and people are like, oh, well, you're self-medicating. Well, I'm sorry, but like not calling my doctor before I go and take an ibuprofen is self-medicating.
Yeah.
It's called having wisdom enough to understand what you need to do for your body, which I think is what the whole point of this conversation ultimately boils down to, is learning how to have the wisdom enough to take care of your body. And us as massage therapists, knowing that it's good for people to take care of themselves and that we can do so much good for the public and for them, regardless if they're in perfect health and just need to relax.
Yeah.
Or are kind of jacked up and need somebody to help start put the pieces back together. You know? Like, you don't need to, oh, I get massage at my physical therapist. No, you don't. You know what I mean? No, you don't. You don't. You're getting that thing worked on. Yes, have I had sections where I spend the entire hour between the low back and one thigh? Because that's where all the points are. Yeah, session 1, maybe. You know what I mean? But that will also come with a full body flush in the beginning and the end. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, no two treatments are the same, but it's not 10 minutes of like, oh, I'm going to release your tib anterior because you're having problems with dorsiflexion. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then sending you on your way. You got to treat the body as a whole. That's why they call it holistic. Right. Not even holistic as in holy, but holistic as in the whole picture. Holistic as in everything, taking the whole thing into account. People's moods. You come in pissed off, I might not be able to do any good. You need to be able to relax. That's why I do breathing with my clients. You know what I mean? I do deep breathing with my clients. I do Qigong over my clients all the time. And you know, Qigong, Reiki, that's why I get confused because it's like Qigong, Reiki. I mean, like, what's the difference? There really isn't
kind of
one.
All, yeah, you kind of do. Yeah.
It's kind of like,
because it's like, yeah, we're in this space where it's like, I'm working on your muscles, but I'm also in your space. Like I'm in your energetic space. I know we don't like to talk about energy with everyone because not everyone is comfortable with that, but it is an energetic. I mean, close your eyes. Someone will hover over you. You feel them there.
Well, listen, we're at 2 hours. So if people are still listening at this,
Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up.
If people are still listening at this point, they're fucking in. So I'm gonna go ahead and say this.
They
right?
get an award. If they're still listening, they get it. And we can stop.
Well, if you're still listening, if you're still listening, you're gonna get this little gem right here. Okay, and this is 100% legitimate. I am not a crazy person. I think I have proven myself that I am stable and normal and not this woo out there bullshit person who's going like, pay me $100 and I'll burn a feather over a picture of your ex and you'll get over it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not that kind of person. That's why I don't offer distant healing, because like,
What?
I believe in it, but like, do I really? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
in my experience, this is the caveat that I'm talking about, right? So in my experience and in my training in Tai Chi and Qigong, what it does is it teaches you to be aware of your body's own Qi, which could then be, you could explain it away as you training your awareness in your proprioception to then be aware of your own body's electromagnetic field. If we go into physics, your atoms are all empty space, and the concept of solidity is perceived by our relationship to kinetic and potential energy. Everything is kinetic potential or kinetic energy. So how the molecules are going to interact with each other, right?
And this is in a textbook somewhere. Like this is
legit.
This is
legit. The concept of solidity is just the way that those fields between the atoms react with one another, and you're never actually touching anything. Even though you feel like you're touching something, you're never actually making legit contact with it on a molecular level.
0.00153%. Yeah.
Exactly. So everything is legitimately electromagnetic fields interacting with one another. So your chi is a part of that electromagnetic field. It is one frequency in that field. And it is the thing that it's the force. The force in Star Wars is stolen from the concept of chi. That's Star Trek. I screw up my.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like,
it's like that.
Or like that's Star Trek.
That picture. It's like that picture of
the force.
But it's
that's how you know I'm a fake nerd, because I don't know my.
Oh, I'm a real nerd because I can list all of it to you. But anyway, so back on track, right? So this concept of solidity does not exist. That being said, Tai Chi and Qigong has taught me to be aware of that. And then we also do drills in school where we learn to feel each other's energy. So it sounds super woo-woo, but you can feel it. You can feel it's like almost like opposing magnets. And since I'm, kind of trained, like I'm only 8 years in, like it really isn't that long. Like if I was 20 years in, I could talk, but like I'm just at the beginning.
You can talk. I'm going to give you permission. You can talk.
Yeah. Tell my teacher. So like,
there are people 20 years in that don't have an understanding. So time doesn't really apply.
This is also true. And I had all my classes with him after I came back. We know who we're talking about. So I'm not going to say anything. But so like, but yeah, sure, why not? So not even him. Not even him. We'll talk.
I know. You're talking about
yeah. But so like even now, if I put my hands together, I can kind of feel my own. And people can do it too. Anybody can do this. If you feel that like opposing force, that's your body's awareness of the energy. But you learn to be able to not like, Dragon Ball Z, like shoot it out. You learn to turn the faucet on and off. That's really all it is. You're allowing for flow. You're a vessel. So you learn to turn the faucet on and off, and you learn to then also feel what's up. So when I hit trigger points, I often get hit with like a surge that I feel right here. You know what I mean? So like I'll hit a point and feel like, how do you know? It's like because I can feel it. It's like magnetic. Yeah. So that's what that training has given me. And the purpose of that is that's available to everybody. And that chi, if I can feel it, I can train it, I can work it, and I can do this, that, and the third, and help work with it with somebody else. Then you have to understand that the chi within your body is also having a severe effect on how you feel. How you feel is having a severe effect on your chi. So the caveat in this is that it's very real. It's very real, and it's very real for me because I interpret it in a different way. And I want to raise the awareness of that so we can start putting money into research to have it be proven. You know what I mean? Because you have, again, conflicting results. You have people who have independently gone and taken Shaolin monks and like as they're doing their exercises, and you see that there's this heat that's developing where they're channeling their chi. Watch my teacher, who's a kid from Century, who has a spear in his throat, and he's walking into it and snaps the thing in half. You know what I mean? And like, oh, he's using his collarbone. No, the thing is, the collarbone takes the spear and drives it up into your neck. And then, you break the spear against your collarbone because that's the way that the wood bends, but you still have all this metal forced up into your neck. And it's a rounded point. It's not sharp, so it doesn't separate the skin. But still, all that force, and then you resist it undamaged. How? Wei Qi, lung channel. So that's your immune system. So it's just, I want this show, I really wanted to take interest on this kind of stuff. I really had people start really researching into it. I'm going on a rant now, and I forgot what the point of starting this tangent was. But somebody's going to listen to that, and they're going to go, that's pretty cool. I'm going to go research that. I'm going to go look into it. I'm going to do a What is Chi series once I get the mic. That's going to be the first thing I do. Cool. Like, what is Chi? Explain yin and yang. Explain what the concept
break it down into
break
little
it down.
Digestible.
And then what I'm also
I remember all of us our first day of Channels and Points just being like, what?
Yeah.
And that was like because it's like it does attach to all of the anatomy. It attaches, but like we have no idea how until so like to go like anyone off the street, like someone that's not from massage school, to start explaining chi to someone who's just like, what? So series
or the people that
great
come in.
Plan. I'll definitely tune into that.
Yeah, and I had a friend of mine who's in the school now, and she says to me last night, she's like, I have potential torn labrum. I got to go this. Might need surgery. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, let's try everything we can before you go for that surgery. You know what I mean? And especially you had those
Tom used to say, let's look around in the toolbox and see what we can find.
Yeah, Tom.
Cut you open.
Oh man, I would love to talk to him. That would be fun.
Yeah, Tom's cool,
great.
Dude.
Tom
I was thinking of him before when I was like, intention.
Yes. Oh, and him with the horse stance. I use that all the time. Whenever I do that lat stretch, I'm in a deep stance. Thank you, martial arts, but also thank massage because it helps it. It all helps it. I was explaining yesterday to one of my clients that I'm essentially doing Tai Chi on the table. All my stance work and my body mechanics all come. But anyway, we can keep going.
I know.
What a wonderful conversation.
You and I both motor mouths.
I know. Yak it up. That's the Yiddish word. So if there's anything you'll call say before the end, say it now.
I don't know. I feel like we've said
no
so
pressure.
much.
We have said so much. So alignmassageli.com, align.massage on Instagram. Alan Mazzola, everybody. Thank you so much. Let's figure out a day where we can get together and do a bar retreat.
Great. Yeah.
Because awesome. And I'll talk to you soon. Guys, if you want to donate to the show, again, Cash App code TEMPLELMT11. Venmo is Temple-Wellness if you guys want to donate to the show. Help me keep this going and help me make it a better production for people who like to listen. TempleWellness.net is my website, and at TempleLMT is my personal Instagram and the Instagram that I promote the podcast on, Temple Podcast. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see everybody soon. Don't hang up. I'm just going to cancel the recording, all right? All right, thanks, guys. Tune in next time.